Brazelton, Georgia is about 45 minutes northeast of Atlanta, and it's home to one of the fastest road courses on the circuit, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. It's round 6 of the 2020 Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series and their second race of the weekend. Welcome everyone, I'm Brian Till. Jeremy Shaw will be joining me in just a few minutes for the call of all of today's action, but first, let's take a quick look at the weather. 72 degrees, nice and comfortable, scattered clouds, just a light breeze out of the south. It should be a great day for racing. Now let's take a look at the championships on the line. The battle in the pro class is heating up, that's for sure. Change Racing Madison Snow sits on top of the points, but Stephen Agakani and Jacob Edson in the number 6 car are not far behind, and they need a win to turn the tides in their direction. In Pro-Am, the 63 of Change Racing with the lineup of Corey Lewis and McKay Snow have been the class of the field, but the 24 of Leo Lamelis, well, he's ready to make a move if they should falter. Let's go for a lap around Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta on board the 46 with driver Brandon Godovic.
Hey everyone, I'm Brandon Godovic, driver of the number 46 Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and we're going to take a lap here around Road Atlanta, one of my favorite racetracks. So go on the front stretch here, get up to 6th gear, pretty quick little short stretch here. Dive off into turn 1, want to get back to the throttle pretty aggressively to carry that momentum up the hill. Quick brake here, jump on that curb at turn 3 and wanting to get back to the throttle pretty quick. And then this section here through the S's, kind of working the gas back and forth a little bit, try and get a nice consistent run down the hill. Quick brake down to 3rd gear, and then again, similar in turn 1, want to get on that gas as quick as you can, carry that speed up the hill. And going off into this brake zone here, pretty quick brake here, down 2 gears, go off into the, grab that banking there, short little shoot on the throttle, down to 2nd gear, taking the tight corner here, and then again, quick and hard on the throttle as you can, get that nice long run down the straightaway. Real long backstretch here at Road Atlanta, so plenty of time to check your mirrors, grab a snack, send out a tweet or two, and get yourself set up to come into this hard brake zone down the hill. So full speed, 6th gear, down to 3rd, hard on the brakes, off that brake nice and early, want to get right to those apex curbs, aggressive throttle up the hill, car gets really light up on the top of the hill, carry that speed down in 5th gear all the way down the hill, trying to work that throttle and get a nice run down the front stretch, and that's a lap around Road Atlanta.
It's not a cloud in the sky. It's 16 Lamborghini Super Trofeo Huracans about to attack this racetrack just north of Atlanta, Georgia, in the foothills around Brazelton, 2.54 miles. And if you are a sports car driver, this is a racetrack that is on your bucket list. High speed in certain sections, very technical in others. Turn 1, the fastest corner on the racetrack. The diving S's down to towards turn 5. Then 6 and 7 get you down that long back straightaway into the heavy braking, great passing area there at turn 10, turn 10A and 10B. Before we get to race number 2, let's take back to race number 1 on the weekend. Madison Snow in that white 16 on the pole, a huge jump, and leaves Stephen Agakani in the red 6 sleeping there at turn 12. It was a great jump for Madison Snow, and he takes out to a big lead. Then Stephen Agakani's day gets worse. He's the championship points leader. He and teammate Jacob Edson, he goes off in turn 10, drops all the way to 15th. Tom Kerr in the 74. Slow in the S's, catches out Neil Alberico and jumps the curb through the gravel, tries to get out of the way of those drivers coming through. Speaking of drivers coming through, Sidney McKee slows up the 99 of Danny Formal, which allows the 63 of Corey Lewis to dive past and into the lead of the Pro-Am class. Traffic always a factor here. We talked about Tom Kerr. Well, this was the ride of the weekend. Goes off at the exit of turn 5, and how he does not hit anything, I do not know. He needs to buy lottery tickets, that's for sure. Stuart Middleton in the number 1, past the 63 of McKay Snow for 3rd overall, which sets up a battle for the lead in Pro-Am. That was a barn burner. And then the number 6, Jacob Edson, continues his climb back after his teammate had that problem earlier. Here he gets past the 53 of Shelby Blackstock for 6th overall. McKay Snow, a problem, big problem, pounds the curbs in turn 5, sends him off into the wall, and that gives the number 24 of Leo Lamelis the lead in Pro-Am. That also has an effect in the championship. 29, Victor Gomez has a puncture, left front, and he will retire. Not the day that he wanted, but talk about days that you want. Madison Snow, he gets held up coming down the hill to the checkered flags, but it does not matter. Brandon Godovic right behind him cannot get by, and Madison Snow from the pole to the victory here in race 1 at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Jeremy Shaw, yesterday's race was intense. I expect nothing other than the same today. Take us through the grid.
Yes, thank you, Brian. There'll be 16 cars, 4 categories of driver, as you say, Pro, Pro-Am, Am, and LB Cup for the newcomers. Starting at the back of the field, Tom Curry, kind of a 74, alongside Matt Dickin in kind of a 36. The LB Cup pole sitter, John Hennessy, in kind of a 33, will start 10th, alongside the Am pole sitter, Victor Gomez, at the 4th in kind of a 29. Row 2 is Shelby Blackstock, made an excellent debut yesterday in kind of a 53, will start 4th alongside Brandon Godovic in kind of a 46. And onto the front row, yesterday's winner, Madison Snow, in kind of a 16 for Change Racing, the championship leader. Alongside him, for the 4th time in succession, Jacob Edson has qualified the US Racetronics kind of a 6 on the pole position.
Well, I wonder if Jake Edson, Jeremy, watched that start closely yesterday, because his teammate was asleep at the wheel as they came down. This time the 6 on the inside, and Edson goes really early and leaves Snow in the dust. Do they throw the green? Yes, they do. So Edson with that big jump, a very similar jump than Madison Snow got yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was a slightly earlier start there from Jacob Edson compared yesterday to Madison Snow, but he's taken advantage of that pole position. Tucking into second place is yesterday's race winner, Madison Snow. And these two, they are the class of the field. They lead the points. They're separated by just 2 markers coming into this weekend, with Jacob Edson getting 1 point for the pole position. That was earned yesterday. He's looking for another 15 points for the race win today.
Well, with the race win yesterday, Madison Snow, I believe, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, went to the championship points lead. It's just been that close, and this is how close the battles are throughout the field. We always say you've got to make sure you get these Pirelli tires up to temperature, and on a cool morning like this, I would think before you get tire temperature and pressure, it's going to be at least a lap.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's an early start in. It's just after 9 a.m. local time here in Road Atlanta, but absolutely perfect conditions for racing here on this glorious racetrack in rural Georgia.
Side by side down the back straightaway into turn 10A and 10B. I believe that's the number 1 on the outside. Indeed, it is. It's Stuart Middleton, the Lamborghini young driver, trying to get past McKay Snow, I should say, in the 63. McKay Snow, the younger brother of Madison. Madison running second in that white 16 right there. McKay a little bit further back, battling for Pro-Am.
Top 2 with a huge lead at the end of the first lap. Jacob Edson holding off ahead of Madison Snow. Brandon Godovic slots into the 3rd position. That's where he started. It's been a slow start, though, relative to Brandon Godovic, who set the fastest lap of the race yesterday, came on strong in the latter stages, not quite close enough to grab the victory, but behind him is a whole train of cars in these 3 different categories that are battling back there. Some of the pros, but also the AMs, the Pro-Ams, and even the LB Cup contenders hanging in there as well.
And I'm sure that right now Leo Lamelas would like to see Gomez out of the way, because he's second in Pro-Am. The car right at the front of that order, the black and red 63, is McKay Snow. That's the leader in Pro-Am, and Lamelas wants to get there because that championship is a good one as well. And Lamelas trying to make some ground in that championship. He needs to get up there and get past the 63 if he wants to keep closing ground. He closed it well yesterday with the problems that McKay Snow had. I by my rough unofficial calculations, he's just 4 points behind in the championship.
And that'll be down to 3 now because Leo Lamella's got the pole position for today's race. So 66 points for McKay Snow and Corey Lewis, the most experienced driver in this field. They will be sharing that number 63 car. Leo Lamella's with the pole position today, and he's got some ground to make up if he's going to catch McKay Snow now. So it's the number 63 car that does lead that Pro-Am category in the points and today in the race after a great start from McKay Snow.
I wonder how much damage there was to the 63 after that hit yesterday and how late the Change Racing crew needed to stay here to get that car back together. And I wonder what condition it's actually in, Jeremy.
Well, it seems to be working well today, and that Change Racing team, super experienced. They know how to put these cars together and are doing a super job. Talking of doing a super job, here you are out the front of the field is McKay's older brother, Madison, in second place at the moment in that white car for Change Racing, representing the Charlotte dealerships. And it's still Jacob Edson who leads in car number 6 for the US Racetronics team, carrying the colours of SADA and also the Beverly Hills Lamborghini dealership in Southern California. Jacob Edson and Madison, they've been trading fastest laps of the race so far. This time around, fractionally, it was Madison Snow slightly the quicker, 1 minute 20.493. The pace just continuing to increase at the front of the field.
Well, think about the experience that Madison Snow has behind the wheel around this racetrack this weekend. 6 hours in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship yesterday. Also the 50-minute Lamborghini Super Trofeo race, both of them in Lamborghini. So he's got a lot of time on this racetrack. He's closing the ground inch by inch to Jacob Edson in front. It was 0.8 of a second lap before. That last time by the line, just 0.73 of a second. So 73 100ths of a second. Now, catching Jacob Edson is one thing. Getting past him is another, because these cars are so equally balanced. You're going to have to force that other driver into a mistake to get by. Brandon Godovic holding on there in the second of the red and black cars that you saw in your shot, the 46.
Yeah, and that gap from second to third, just a little bit, just around about 6 seconds now. So these two stretching their lead, and here's a good lap from Jacob Edson. That is a new fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 20.356 for Jacob. That compares to yesterday's fastest lap was set in the number 46 car by Brandon Godovic, a 120.2. That was a new lap record. These Lamborghinis have only been here once before, back in 2015, and the pace is a lot quicker now. So a new fastest lap for Jacob Edson, and that lead stretching almost now to 1 second over Madison Snow.
Yeah, that last time by, Jacob Edson pulled out a couple of tenths of a second. It's just that close. There's an ebb and flow to it. But what's surprising to me is that Brandon Godovic, after laying down that record lap yesterday in the race, seems to be off the pace a little bit today, about 3/4 of a second a lap compared to Madison Snow and Jacob Edson.
But you talked about a little while ago, Brian, the fact that Brandon Godovic's car really works well in the later stages of the race. He was able to close in yesterday on the race leader. He was definitely the fastest. He definitely had the fastest car in the latter stages towards the finish line. He wasn't able to quite get past Madison. There was just 0.2 of a second between them at the checkered flag, and he could be hoping. There's still a long way to go in this race. It's a 50-minute race. There's a mandatory pit stop that has to take place any time between 20 minutes into the race, and we're about halfway to that now, and there's a 10-minute window for that pit stop to take place. There's a minimum pit stop time, which is the time is taken from when the cars enter pit lane to when they exit pit lane. They're supposed to be stationary for around about 60 seconds, but the minimum pit stop time overall is 95 seconds for a dual driver car, and some of these cars have shared drivers and others have solo drivers. The solo driver minimum pit stop time is a little bit longer, 98 seconds. The reason for that Well, the solo drivers, he's driving the entire 50-minute race. During the first half of the race, he knows how his car is handling. He knows the track conditions. He's fully attuned to the car. But for the drivers who are stepping in at half distance, they've got to learn. They've got to get themselves up to speed. How is the car handling? Is it different from yesterday? So that's why there is a slight advantage given in terms of the pit stop time to the two driver setup. 98 seconds minimum time on pit lane.
Back up front, things are heating up. The Bulls raging at Road Atlanta. Madison Snow has closed in on the rear wing of Jacob Edson. What can he do? This is all about the lead in the championship right here onto the front straightaway at Road Atlanta. Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American action, and a problem for Shelby Blackstock in turn 10A. Blackstock around and in the gravel, and it'll be interesting to see if this brings out a full course caution. He straightens the wheels to see if he can inch that car out, and that gravel is there for a reason. It catches you, it keeps you from making contact with the wall, it captures you, and I think this bull has been put in the corral. There it is.
Yeah, around he goes. He was involved in a close battle there with Stuart Middleton in car number 1, and Shelby Blackstock he got the rear end of the car just up on like curbing, entering the corner, loops it around. He goes for a wild ride there in that 610 horsepower Lamborghini.
99, that multicolored green car, second one in your shot. Lamellis, or the 24, I should say. Leo Lamellis in the 24 has closed down on McKay Snow. He's gotten past Gomez, and now this is the battle for Pro-Am. Things heating up at Road Atlanta, and this will throw some water on that fire. Full course caution for Shelby Blackstock. Mired in the gravel there at turn 10A, so the safety crews will come out, get Blackstock back on track after his problem. I think you're right, Jeremy. I think he just gets that right side rear tire up on that blue and yellow curbing at turn in, and around the car goes. So we're full course caution at Road Atlanta. Lights off on the safety car, and they're going to be even closer because this field is going to bunch up for this restart. It'll be interesting to see. I'm going to imagine Madison Snow is going to glue the front end of that Lamborghini Huracan Evo to the rear wing of Jacob Edson. Edson, I think, already pulling the trigger as he comes out of 10B, and we're going to be racing again at Road Atlanta, and the window for the pit stops is going to open probably at the end of this lap, so it'll be interesting to see how long these cars stay out. Somebody dropping a wheel onto the front straightaway, that red Georgia clay thrown into the air. Already getting exciting on the restart. That was the 63. McKay Snow dropped the wheel there at the exit, and I think it might have been trying to get around the lap car, got just a little bit wide, and that will always get your attention. Red Georgia clay gets thrown up in the air, and it's almost a smoke screen. You can't see through it, so McKay Snow has his hands full. That's Leo Lamellis right behind. That's the battle for the lead in Pro-Am as they go out of your shot.
Yeah, both of those two was kind of trapped behind Sydney McKee, who's a couple of laps down at that restart. She's got out of the way now, and that battle for Pro-Am lead has gone on past, and that's going to be continuing now throughout this race. And you're right, we've got the pit stops coming up. The pit window will be open in about half a minute's time. Probably not quite early enough for the race leaders to come in, but certainly some of the guys further down the order might be able to make their pit stop as of the end of this lap. But out front, it's still Jacob Edson who leads. And Jacob Edson, he's racing for his good friend and longtime supporter, Jim O'Brien, this weekend. Jim can't make it. He's at home in Colorado, battling some serious health issues. We wish him the very best, as does the entire Edson family. They hope he can come back and see them soon. But Jacob Edson, here he is in the lead of this race in that starter car. Once again, he's pulled out just a little bit of a margin there over Madison Snow. A great first lap after the restart for Jacob Edson.
Saw someone dive into the pits up at the top of the shot because the pit window is now open. And I got to hand it to the U.S. Racetronics team. I think they went to work and they have put a better race car underneath Jacob Edson and Stephen Agakani when he climbs in, because this car seems to have come alive. Yesterday in the early going, the race was about an hour earlier, so even, well, I won't say cooler conditions because I think the temperature is actually cooler today, but in those early laps, I don't think the 6 had the pace, and I think it was the chassis, not the driver. And that car today on the initial start and this restart really seems to have a good balance with the tires being cold on that start restart. Look at the lead that Edson has built over the white 16.
He has, and Brandon Godovic here still dropping back a little bit, but running a pretty good place in the third position. When they come up for the pit stops, Jacob Edson, he will hand over that number 6 car to the youngster Stephen Agakani, but Madison Snow, he will be remaining at the wheel of the number 16 car. Therefore, because he's running solo, his pit stop will have to be 3 seconds longer than the number 6 car. That's assuming there's no problems with the number 6 car's pit stop. They've already had a couple of problems in the early races this season. So if Jacob Edson can maintain this lead right now, Stephen Agakani, with a clean pit stop, will have an extended lead over Madison Snow going into the second part of this race.
Well, and think about how important the pit stops are. And if you're a fan at home watching this and you haven't watched a lot of this races, there won't be tires, there won't be fuel. It's usually a driver change unless you absolutely need a tire. But the timing on the pit stop is absolutely critical. When the competition is this close on the racetrack, you have to try to cut that down to a perfect light, so to speak, in drag racing terms. You can't just be careful and spend an extra second or two, because while those other cars are out on the racetrack going down the front straightaway at 125, 135 miles an hour, you're losing precious yards when you get back out there. So you've got to try to cut that pit stop as close as you possibly can.
That's exactly right. And we saw, by the way, McKay Snow ducked into the pits at the end of that first lap at the restart to hand over the number 63 car to Corey Lewis, the most experienced driver in the field, a 3-time champion. He won the Pro-Am Championship right here at Road Atlanta back in 2015. Here is the battle, though, is Randy Solari has not yet made his pit stop. He is now leading the LB Cup category. He's got past John Hennessy at the restart, and right behind him, having made that stop, is the number 63 of Corey Lewis. Right now, Lewis is a lap down, and he will want to get past the LB Cup class car as quickly as he can. He's unable to do here in order not to lose too much time for when the Leo Lamelas makes his own pit stop in the currently Pro-Am leading car number 24.
And this is exactly what you do not want to see as the faster car on that outlap to catch traffic, especially in this area, the downhill S's through turn 5. Anywhere from turn 1 to turn 5, you're going to get held up seconds. And that's exactly what's happening to Corey Lewis right now. Randy Solari holding him up. Remember, all of these cars exactly the same. They may run in different classes, but they all are the exact same Lamborghini Huracan Evo. So the horsepower is the same, the handling characteristics the same, as far as the opportunity to set them up the same. It depends what the teams have done, but it's that much more difficult to get by someone. And Corey Lewis has now gotten past Solari.
Sergio Jimenez, he will probably come in this time around. He could possibly do one more lap if he wants to before the pit stop window closes. He will hand over the car to Californian Neil Alberico. Yeah, he comes into the pit lane now, and right on cue for Sergio Jimenez.
Well, Neil Alberico, much like Leo Lamelas, very experienced in the prototype category. That's where he came from the last couple of years, and before that, a lot of open wheel experience. Indy Lights in 2017, 18, and 19. Pro Mazda before that. So these young drivers, and we've talked about this before, Jeremy, these open wheel drivers looking to sports cars now as an avenue to continue their career, and looking at this Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Series as a legitimate stepping stone to the higher sports car series that run in the IMSA ranks.
We're absolutely right. And Stephen Agacani, who's taken over the wheel number 6 car, is defending his position there because Madison Snow, despite having made that longer pit stop, is right with him. This is now the battle for the lead, or it will be when they come across the line next time. Sergio Mendes has done one lap more. He's on the pit lane. So this is effectively the battle for the lead. Agacani, just 17 years of age. He's already making his mark in the sport. He drives as a young driver for Lamborghini along with his teammate Jacob Edson, and Stephen Agacani is racing also in the Italian GT3 Championship this season for Lamborghini in a factory back car for Vincenzo Sospiri Motorsport. So he's going back and forth between Europe and North America to drive these Lamborghinis. He's out in the lead of the race right now and desperately trying to hold off Madison Snow.
Not a bad job for a 17-year-old. There is the 13 coming out of pit lane, so he's going to be right there with him as well. Neil Alberico, we'll see if he can claw in and move up towards this battle. But here's the thing, Madison Snow's been in the wheel or behind the wheel of the 16 since the drop of the green. Agacani having to get accustomed to this car, as Jacob Edson is the driver who started it. If Madison Snow's going to make the move, needs to make it now before Agacani gets comfortable. He needs to pounce while he can, while Agacani's still coming to grips with his Lamborghini.
Yeah, there's all sorts of fun battles here. This is superb, and Agacani here, he's being a bit defensive here. He needs to focus forward and just keep his pace. He's got the pace, Stephen Agacani. He's qualified on the pole position for yesterday's race.
Snow with the run off of 7 there, Jeremy. Agacani a little bit defensive, and now really defensive down the back straightaway. And they're going to touch, I think, as they head down the back straightaway. Agacani trying to squeeze Madison Snow to the left side of the racetrack. And Madison Snow is not going to give in to that. He's going to have the inside line into 10A. Can he hold it through the apex? And a little rub there. Snow says, hey, back off, buddy. This one's mine. He gets the apex of 10A and now has the lead as they head down the hill to 12.
And there's the experience of Madison Snow. He was able to get a good run off that the tight corner at turn 7 onto the back straightaway, and Agacani kind of defended to the inside. But what that gave Madison Snow the opportunity is to get on the outside, which is then the inside for the next corner here under braking for turn 10. So perfect move there for Madison Snow. And I think Stephen Agacani is kind of going to school a little bit there. I think Madison Snow wasn't too pleased to be edged out towards the grass there, making his presence felt as they head down the back straight. But a good clean pass for Madison Snow. He's now in the lead of this race.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the what goes around comes around. Agacani trying to push Snow off to the left, and they got down there in the braking zone and said, 2 can play at that game. Madison Snow did, and then took the corner. And you could see almost that little sense of desperation on Agacani as he blocked through 6 and 7. But when you throw that block onto the inside or stay into the middle of the racetrack going through 7, that's going to give your competitor that bigger apex or bigger radius through the apex of 7, better speed onto the back straightaway, and that pass gets set up well back at 7, the pass that happens at 10A. Good battle here in LB Cup.
It is for the LB Cup. It's the number 03 car, Randy Solari, the points leader, who leads, but there right on his tail is John Hennessy, who led the early stages, made the earlier pit stop, and he's now pushing Randy Solari really hard. A super battle. It's for 11th position overall, but the lead in the LB Cup category, and they're well clear now of Matt Dickin in 3rd place. It is Randy Solari, who has a couple of years experience in these cars, as opposed to John Hennessy, who really is just starting out. I mean, he did his first track day on a high performance car less than 2 years ago. He's got a great driver coach in Ross Bentley, who knows an awful lot about this sport. Yeah. And John Hennessy is loving driving these cars, and he's giving Randy Solari here all he can handle. But this is a super battle, and there Neil Alberico in that gold and black car. He's going to be passed there. On the inside goes Corey Lewis, so that will give Corey Lewis a little bit of a buffer between himself and a third place Pro-Am car, which is driven by Andrea Amici.
Well, and this is what I think is interesting, a slower car off the driver's right, and now Tom Kerr is going to get caught. And this is what happened to Tom yesterday. He kept getting caught at turn 5, and it was the same result. He had such a near miss yesterday, one of the best saves I think I've seen. But this is what I find interesting. You see the two Pro-Am cars, the 63 and the 25, past the two Pro cars, the 13 and the 1, and people at home may be scratching their heads going, well, I thought the Pro drivers were supposed to be better. Well, guess what? Andrea Amici and Corey Lewis, they are Pro drivers. They are the Pro part of the Pro-Am driver lineup, and they have so much experience in these Lamborghinis. Right behind them, the 13 and the 1, Neil Alberico and Stephen McAleer, very, very good race car drivers, but very little time in these Lamborghini Huracan Evos. So McAleer and Alberico still coming to grips with this type of car. Amici and Corey Lewis have vast experience in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Series.
Yeah, they do, and the experience is so important in this sport. You see youngsters or even older drivers coming in, and they think, well, I've got a handle on this car, but you're always learning. And for somebody like Corey Lewis, this will be Corey Lewis's. This race is his 50th start in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. He's done some races overseas as well, in actual fact. So massive experience in these cars. Neil Alberico, this is just his 3rd start in these cars.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. You think a race car driver is a race car driver, and if you're a championship winning driver and won, you'll just step into any other series and run at the front. But if you're a stick and ball fan, a baseball fan, like I am, I'm not a football fan, as Calvin Fish will tell you. Baseball and fast pitch softball, and you can take a Major League Baseball player and put him in front of a fast pitch softball pitcher, a collegiate pitcher, and they'll look foolish. Even though the ball is bigger than the baseball, it gets delivered in a completely different way, and the movement is completely different, and it befuddles a baseball player. And you look at it and you go, it's a stick and ball sport. Why would they struggle with that? But it's the same thing here for a driver like Stephen McAleer, Neil Alberico, guys that have won races in other championships and won championships themselves. This is a different ball game, so to speak, and they're going to have to learn the nuances of it. I'll tell you, the guy who's learned the nuances of it, well, Madison Snow out in front in that white number 16 flashing out of your shot, and he has left Stephen Agakani and pulled away a little bit at a time, and now Agakani with 2-lap cars in between himself and Madison Snow as we close down on 11 minutes to go from Road Atlanta.
Yeah, time is ticking away here, certainly for Agakani. And Madison Snow clearly has the pace. I think he was a little bit conservative there, passing that lap traffic. I think it was Matt Dickin in the number 36 car. But Madison Snow, he's set sail at the front of the field, and he's looking good here. He came into this came into the weekend behind on the points with that mistake yesterday for Agakani, put the car off the road in the early stages. That enabled Madison Snow to take the championship lead. With the pole position for Jacob Edson this morning, the lead coming into this race was just 2 points But if they can maintain positions now, this will enable Madison Snow to pull out another extra 3 points clear of Stephen Agakani and Jacob Edson heading into the next two races in the championship.
Well, now Stephen McAleer's got a mirror full of Victor Gomez the fourth, as Neil Alberico seems to pull away a little bit. McAleer and Stuart Middleton really worked on the setup of that number one Lamborghini from Prestige Performance Lamborghini Paramus, really worked on that at VIR and thought that they had a better car, but they've struggled here at Road Atlanta this weekend. I expected to see that driver lineup a little farther up the line. Stuart Middleton, a very talented young race car driver, part of the Lamborghini Young Driver Program, and Stephen McAleer, I've watched him over the years, and he's won in any car that he's gotten in. So right now, to see them where they are and the pace that they're running, I feel like they just have not really kind of come to grips with this chassis and found a setup that works for both of those drivers.
Yeah, and homing in on this trio, the fourth car in the train, that is young Danny Formal from Costa Rica in the second of the AMSA Motorsports cars. So we've got an AMSA Motorsports sandwich here. Neil Alberico leads this battle ahead of Stephen McAleer, then Victor Gomez the fourth, and then Danny Formal. He's just 24 years of age from Costa Rica, is an absolute stud in the karting ranks. Actually, he runs the AMSA karting team in South Florida, where he's now based. And he's been a super fast learner in these cars. And Danny Formal has closed down this group. He's now going to try and make a challenge for position. Six and a quarter minutes remaining in this race. There is Madison Snow, and barely in sight now behind him is Stephen Agakani, who's more than double that advantage ahead of Brandon Godovic in third position. So Stephen Agakani, we saw yesterday Brandon Godovic, who's currently running in third place, had the fastest car in the ladder stages, but Agakani is continuing to build his lead over Godovic. It's just that Madison Snow has upped his pace and he's pulling away at the front of the field.
We talk about experience, and Madison Snow certainly has it. And look at this, Alberico a little wide. That's going to allow the 99 through. I don't know if he's gotten wide somewhere else and gotten some pickup on his tires, but he just did not have the grip. And McAleer has gotten by him, and now Alberico dropping back into the clutches of the 29. A lot of times if you get wide and you get pickup on your tires, Jeremy, the handling goes away for a couple of corners until you can get that scrubbed off and get that Pirelli rubber back on the road.
Yeah, indeed. And the Georgia clay here doesn't help either. The grass should be pretty dry. We don't have any rain here, but you keep trying to keep the car on the grey stuff. That's definitely the quickest way around here. Danny Formal, I'm really impressed once again, doing an excellent job there. He's worked his way past two much more experienced drivers, and he's now closing in on Stephen McAleer. So he's up now into the 8th position, and he wants better than that.
And I said McAleer always seems to find a way. He and Stuart Middleton, well, they've found a way by Alberico, and now he seems to have found a little bit more pace. Perhaps Alberico and that battle that he was in slowing him up just a little bit. But Danny Formal in the 99, we'll see if he can get past McAleer. And Alberico's car just does not look solid at this point in time. Cannot hold that apex there coming down through the S's, Jeremy. And I feel like that car might have a fair amount of understeer. And if you have understeer around this racetrack, it's just frustrating. It's not particularly frightening to a driver. You just can't do anything with it. It's frustrating.
There's Alberico that continues just to hold on ahead of Victor Gomez the fourth. It's a battle for position on the racetrack, but for Victor Gomez, he leads. In fact, he's the only starter in the AM category here, but it's a battle for pride here. What to say, in the 9th position rather than 10th overall, and just ahead of him on the racetrack is another gaggle of cars. There's a couple of lap cars in there as well. But Danny Formel continuing his charge, trying to find a way past Stephen McAleer, who's going to look down the inside. That's a lapped car of Matt Dickin. That Formel in the green and black car just went through, and it's still Stephen McAleer who holds on ahead of the number 99.
Danny Formal in that bright green 99, trying to close on McAleer just in front. Just over 3 minutes to go in Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America action from Road Atlanta. Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America from Road Atlanta. It's Madison Snow out in front right now in his number 16 Change Racing Lamborghini Charlotte entry, leading over Agakani. Stephen Agakani in the number 6. Jacob Edson started on pole in the number 6, but on the pit stop exchange, it just seems like Madison Snow more comfortable in that 16 than Agakani was in his US Racetronics Lamborghini Beverly Hills entry. And the experience that Madison Snow has, not only in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Series, but also the IMSA WeatherTech Championship, I think really has come into play this weekend. Corey Lewis leading in Pro-Am, Victor Gomez the 4th in Am, and John Hennessy, again, trying to make it 2 in a row. He leads in LB Cup.
And there's a problem for Leo Lamellis, who is leading the category in Pro-Am. He's all of a sudden going, so he's got a punctured left rear tire by the looks of it. What a heartbreaker for Leo Lamellis. I thought he was losing ground there, and the other cars were closing in, and that tire has gone flat. And there to the inside of the lapped car goes Sergio Jimenez, I think, Neil Alberico. But what a heartbreaker for Leo Lamellis, just a couple of laps from the end of this race, and he's going to lose the lead in the Pro-Am category, and and also the lead of the championship.
Well, yeah, that's the frustrating thing. I mean, he worked so hard to close down in the championship, and Lamellis, with that problem, is going to drop well back in the order. With just 2 laps to go, Madison Snow should see the white flag this time by.
Yeah, he should. And the gap from first and second has come down pretty substantially over the last couple of laps. Agakani is upping his pace, just turned a 1 minute 20.9. That's one of his better laps in this race. But there's battles all the way down through the field. This is a tremendous motor race.
And there it is, the white flag for Madison Snow in that white number 16, Stephen Agakani. You can see he's right there. And really, on this last lap, it depends on traffic. I don't see any at the top of the hill right now for Madison Snow. And a problem for Agakani. He spins up in the entry to turn 3, pressing obviously as hard as he possibly could, but loops it, and that's going to give massive distance to Madison Snow. Agakani should be in your shot right now, and he is not. We just saw him right at the top of the hill as he was disappearing from view, saw the tire smoke, saw the car going around, and that is going to take away, I should say, what any hope he had of lap traffic coming into play here. I think I could almost see Madison Snow looking in his mirror, as a driver does, coming off the corner going, okay, where is the guy? I know where he was the last time at corner exit. Where is he now? And what he sees is empty racetrack. Madison Snow trying to make it 2 in a row here at Road Atlanta.
Wow. I'll tell you what, there's battles all the way up and down the field. That was on the last lap of the race to loop that car. He was closing, was Stephen Agakani, but coming down the hill for the final time is Madison Snow.
Madison Snow takes the win at Road Atlanta, sweeps the weekend, and what an impressive performance in a Change Racing Lamborghini Charlotte entry. Madison Snow, 2 in a row. Looking back,
Brandon Godovic comes across the line in second position. Where's Agakani?
Across the line, Corey Lewis wins in Pro-Am, but Andrea Amici was right there with him. And that's what we've always said, Jeremy. This Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America action is always so good throughout those 4 classes. You really have to stay on top of it. Gomez should take the win in Am, even if he has a problem, since he's the only one in it. But what's going on in LB Cup? Randy Solari and John Hennessy. And they're coming down the back straightaway right now, and I think they're locked together, the 03 and the 99, or the 33, I should say.
Yeah, that's been a super battle all the way through this race between those two, and Randy Solari is closed in again. Here is John Hennessy heading towards the checkered flag. Where though is Randy Solari? Has Randy Solari gone past him?
I believe Solari is past him as it shows on timing and scoring. Randy Solari just in front, and Solari takes the win. He returns to victory circle at Road Atlanta. Good run by John Hennessy, and they had a great battle, but in the end, the 0-3 takes the victory, and Randy Solari returns to the top step. Good racing here, and it's always exciting. You never know what you're going to get, and it's interesting, the format, one driver or two, everybody different horses for different courses, and so different teams look at this, and some utilize the one driver format, some the two. Welcome back to Brazelton, Georgia, where race 2 of the weekend for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series has completed. Now let's go to Victory Lane and hear from Madison Snow.
Yeah, I got pole race 1, started second race 2. So going into that, I knew race 1 supposedly was going to be a little bit easier. Not that that really makes a big difference, but I knew starting on the outside here was going to be a challenge. Ended up making the pass late in the race after the pit stops and everything cycled through, and then I was able to keep the lead. Yeah, the points are huge. I mean, I came into here behind the points and I came out with a little bit of a gap in the lead, so couldn't have a better weekend.
Take a look at the finishing order, unofficial results in all 4 classes. Madison Snow with that great drive, especially after the pit stop, wins in the pro category 2 in a row at Road Atlanta. Then Brandon Godovic, heartbreak for Stephen Agakani and Jacob Edson after starting on pole. That flat tire, they are back in 6th in pro. In Pro-Am, Corey Lewis, a great drive after the pit stop and barely edges out Andrea Amici there in the 25, and another great drive by Danny Formal, getting used to seeing him put those in behind the wheel of the 99. In the AM category, Victor Gomez, the 4th, again at the top there. And in LB Cup, Randy Solari, John Hennessy had a great battle. And in the end, Randy Solari says, you know what? I like the top step better, and finds a way past, takes the victory here over John Hennessy, then Matt Dickin, Tom Kerr, and Sidney McKee.
Leaving the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, Madison Snow will extend his lead in the pro category. He has now 79 points to the 68 of Stephen Agakani and Jacob Edson. Brandon Godovic just 1 point further behind in the 3rd position. In Pro-Am, Corey Lewis and McKay Snow also extend their lead now to 10 points with that late heartbreak also for Leo Lamella. So the 2 US Racetronics cars, the number 6 of Stephen Agakani Edson and also Leo Lamellas, both having problems in the last couple of laps.
Next up on NBCSN for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Series will be rounds 7 and 8 from the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in late October. NBC Sports is your exclusive home for IMSA sports car racing. The Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series put on a great show today from Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Congratulations to all the winners, and thank you for watching. We'll see you soon, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.